Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Izharfiddin Irni and I am from 10 November Institute of Technology. I am from Mechanical Engineering Department with the student number of 500-720-1242. And today I will present my final project of second semester programming, which is to make a simple calculator. Now, this is the calculator that I made. It is using Python, I think the newest version, and using the Visual Studio Code, using TechInter for making user interface. So we will go ahead and analyze each one of this code. Now, the first one is the definition for the calculation. We will talk about this later. We will first go here. And we can see here there is root title, which is named circle calculator. This means the interface will be named circle calculator. And then this is the root icon bitmap, which gives the icon, or like when you see an application, it has an image to preview what is inside. This is the icon. And then there is root config, which is configure its background into this color palette, which you can search online for the color palettes. And there is this line for strings. There is the line for labels. Labels is the word that show up in the interfaces. There is different words here, but they have the same background color. Now, this is to make it doesn't collide with the background. I put the same color palette on them. And then all of them managed by grid here, which is managed by row and column. And there is this two result label, which is the first one showing the result and the result equal to mark where the result will be. And then we came here at the radio buttons. Now I made 6 radio buttons. There is R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, and R6 with different values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And every one of them has different names: circumference, area, ring circle, sphere volume, sphere area, and cylinder. Now, what does this do? This is the button you click to give the program the logic of which formula to use. As you can see, there is 1 to 6. And if we go back to the definition, there is 6 different formula, which I mark: circumference, area, circle, ring, sphere volume, sphere area, and cylinder, so that we won't confuse it. There is different values here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, what does the radio button do? It gives the logic which formula to use. When you click the 6 value, it gives you this formula to calculate. Now, these E1s are obtained from the entry lines that I made here. There is 3 entries, which is first one for radius, second one for theta, fourth one for the third one is for height. And I only made one button, which is the calculate button. It gives the calculate command with the text calculate in it. It gives calculate command. So anything that has been put in these entries and given the value of this radio button, and from this value, it calculates from those two and putting it into one of these formula based on the value, and then it just shows you to this result label. It gives the answer from this result label. So that is all for the code line that I have. And this root main loop function is just a must when you are doing this project. So if we run this code, as you can see here, it works. It gives us the interface, and we just scroll up here so we could see it easier. Now, as you can see, the name is circle calculator. The icon is the beach ball that I chose. to make it more interesting. And the background is all covered in that color palette that I choose. Now, there is these labels, which is the radius, insert radius, etc. And this is the radio buttons. You can click on them and it gives a little dot, which gives the value here to the logic. And then there is this result line. So we will go ahead and test this user interface out. The first one is to calculate the circumference of a circle. Because this is a circle calculator, it only calculates about circle. So the first one is if we put 7 radius, 7 is the radius of the circle. It could be different for every case, but in this case, we will try 7. Now, circumference of a circle has the mathematical formula of 2 times P times R. And if we see here, the first value is the result of integer E1, which means a number that is in entry 1, number in entry 1, which if they put like alphabet such as W or A, it won't be count, so it will be ignored. Therefore, this is the radius entry, and this is the 2, and this is the pi marked as 3.14. So if we go ahead and click calculate, it will calculate 7 times 2 times 3.14, which is 43.7.96. Now, that is for the circumference. We go ahead next to the area. For the area, we will try a different radius, 10. And the mathematical formula for circle area is PR squared. In this case, I give it the logic of R times P. And then if we click calculate, it just calculates 10 times 10 times 3.14. So the area works. And the next one is the ring circle. Now, here is where we have our first complication, which is an addition of filling another entry. So this is the radius. We could try to put in any radius. We can go back to 5 maybe. And then for the ring circle, theta, this is if you get the question of the during or ring circle, you will need the theta to solve it, because the formula of a ring circle is theta divided by 360 times PR squared, which means we need 2 variables, which is radius and theta. As for the radius, we fill in 5, and the theta we fill 30. Therefore, if we click calculate, it will calculate as the formula goes. It works, it gives the answer. And we go next to our 3-dimensional objects, which is first sphere volume. Sphere is different from circle because sphere is like a ball. It has 3-dimensional, while circle is only 2-dimensional. Now, the sphere volume is mathematically formulated by 4 divided by 3 times P times R powered by 3. So it is R times R times R. Therefore, in the logic, I wrote, this is, as you can see, is the sphere volume. Now, this is R, this is R, this is R, this is 4.3, and this is 3.14. If we try to calculate it, if we try to calculate it, maybe just 10 radius. You only need the radius because the formula doesn't need theta nor height. So calculate, it gives the answer of 4186.6667, which means this code also works. And for the 5th logic is the sphere area. It gives the 5th value, which is area of a sphere. The difference between this is the 3rd dimensional of it, and it is the surface of the ball. The formula for this is 4 times PR squared, which is, this is the R squared, which is R times R. This is 4, and this is 3.14 as the P. If you go back here and click calculate, it will give a simple answer, which is 1256.0, which means it also works. And for the final function of my user interface is the cylinder. The cylinder needs 2 variables, which is radius and height, as mentioned here, for cylinder. So if we just put in radius, like 14 as the radius, or maybe we could put like 12, and the height of the cylinder 10. Now the formula for cylinder is the surface times the height, which is the surface as it is a circle, it is PR squared times the height. So this is the double R, which is R squared. This is the P, and this is the int E3, which is the entry 3. This is the entry 3, which will give the value of 10. The same as this one that I haven't mentioned for the circle ring, it's E2, which gets the value of theta. Okay, so we will test the cylinder. We calculate, it will give the results of 4,521.6 in volume of the cylinder. So every single one of my radio button and calculation works. And so far this application has worked as a calculator, a simple calculator using Tekinter. Now there is some improvement that could be made within this application, maybe adding like menu so that the entry for ring, circle, and cylinder doesn't show up immediately. They have to be clicked, like click here, and then the ring, circle entry showed up, so it doesn't spams out the screen. But so far this is what I come up with. That will conclude my presentation. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you all stay safe, and see you next time. Thank you very much.